So for today's video, we're going to talk about 10 books that I want my husband, Jake, to read.
And I have no idea what she picked.
Yeah, you have no clue. I told him he was not allowed to peek at the pile.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what you pick for me.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what your reactions are when you actually read them. And I'm hoping you actually will.
I will give my opinion on the books as we see them.
Oh boy. So this first book that I picked out, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm the most excited for you to read it, but I'm definitely the most curious for you to read this one. Mainly, I just really want your reaction because I think it will be a unique experience for you and that you'll like it. Do you want to know what it is?
I think I have a feeling you've told me about this book before.
You have heard me mention that I want you to read it before, and it is The Gutter Prayer by Gareth Ryder Hanrahan.
I am excited to read that.
Well, that's good.
You told me that the prologue is like very, very strange.
Yes. When you start, you realize you're reading from the perspective of a building or a city, and it's wild because it doesn't really tell you that. You just kind of figure it out by context clues.
But you think I'm going to like the book in general?
Yeah, I think this book has some of the most unique elements I'd ever seen done. I remember when I was reading it thinking, like, how high was this author when he came up with some of these concepts? Because it is wild. And, of course, it's a mesh of fantasy and horror, which you like. So,
it's a good pick. I'm excited to read this as well.
off to a good start.
Now let's see where it goes from here.
Oh, boy. So, the second book I've chosen for you is by an author that I know you really love.
Oh.
But you haven't read this book yet. And I have read this book, and I gave it 5 stars.
Is it Taylor Jenkins Reid?
It is.
I knew it.
It's after I do. So I recently just read this. I think it was during our April round of Battle of the Bands in the readathon, and I loved it.
And I've given most Taylor Jenkins Reid's books 5 stars, so I'm definitely excited to read this.
Yes.
It's another good pick.
Woohoo!
We're off to a great start.
So my third pick is something I don't think you've read. At least I don't see it marked as read on your Goodreads. But I've read it, and I remember talking to you about it when I was reading it, though I don't think we went into spoilers. So I think you haven't read it. And this is another situation of an author you've read before, an author you like, but it's not one of the most popular works by this author, maybe?
Okay.
But it's Ogres by Adrian Tchaikovsky.
I know you really liked this one.
Yes.
And I have not read it yet.
I thought you had.
It's one of his novellas.
Yes.
He's got a ton of stuff
Yeah.
that I haven't read. So, but yeah, I've read a lot of his stuff. That one I haven't read yet, but you really liked it.
Yes. I think my favorite aspect of this one is not really knowing a whole lot about what was going on when I started the book. And then, like, I don't know if it was halfway through or anyway, a good portion of the way through, you sort of put the pieces together and figure out the broader context of what's going on. And it's really interesting. And I made the joke about this in my review that ogres are like onions because you peel back the layers of the story and, you know, Shrek, of course.
And I do love stories that do that, where you jump in, you're not quite sure what's going on, but then you get closer to the end and it kind of all wraps up and makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
So my next pick, number 4, is a mystery thriller. And it's one that I read a while ago. It's also one that our friend Sharon read before she passed away. And both of us really loved it. And as far as I know, you have not read it yet.
Do we own it?
We do not own it. And it is kind of more of like a slow-moving legal thriller. Do you have any guesses?
It better not be that one book that I tried to read and didn't like.
Which one did you try and read and not like?
I don't remember the title.
Was it 3 hours?
No.
No? Which one did you try and not like?
It was the one that Sharon really loved. She gave it like 5 stars. I got like halfway through it. I'm like, there's no murder.
Oh, no, it's not that one.
Okay.
I know which one you're talking about now.
Yeah. Well,
The Appeal, I think.
The Appeal.
Yeah.
I was like, don't recommend me that crap.
No, I haven't read that one yet either.
Okay. Well, then what the hell is this book?
This is Defending Jacob by William Landay.
You really liked this book.
I did. Do you remember her talking about it or me talking about it now?
Both, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Why do you want me to read it?
Just for your reactions. Because I want you to experience the same thing I experienced when I read it. And I really enjoyed it.
You think I'm going to like it?
Yeah. I think it was one that kind of fooled me too. Because going in, I was like, okay, yeah, this feels pretty standard for the first while. But the deeper I got, the wilder it got. And I really enjoyed it.
All right. I forgot about that book. But yeah, I'll give it a shot eventually.
Nice. So my fifth pick is one that I think you'll be able to guess based on how I introduced this. So this is a scenario where you've already read a part of this, and it wasn't because you didn't stop at one part because you didn't like it. You stopped at one part because that's all that was out at the time.
I already know what it is.
What is it?
It's, well, I remember the original thing's called The Goners.
Yep.
But what's the thing called now?
It's The Boatmore Butcher. And I also have only read the first part. So this is one I'm thinking either you can be the guinea pig and tell me if the whole thing is as good as the first part, or we could buddy read it.
And I know you mentioned Sharon before, but she, I think this was the book she was reading before she passed away.
Is it? Oh,
and she was really enjoying it.
Okay. Yeah, I knew she talked to this author on
Yeah.
social media, and she was in contact with them.
And we all read The Goners, which is kind of like probably the first third of this book is what The Goners is, and we all really enjoyed it and thought it was very creepy.
Well,
and you read it like in the middle of what was it, like a storm, and the power was out, and you were reading it by candlelight or something.
Yeah, so I was reading about like the flickering lights in the tunnel in the beginning, and I had like this flickering candlelight, so it was extra spooky.
And Sharon was like, "Stacy, you're crazy."
Yeah, y'all thought I was insane, that I was gonna have nightmares, but no, I am usually pretty good with reading horror stuff at night. If I'm watching horror stuff at night, nightmares for sure.
But yes, I got this book I think last year. But yeah, I'm very excited. I just haven't been able to pick it up yet. So you're doing great, baby. All of these books I'm excited for.
Well, that's good news.
All right.
Okay, so number 6 is another one by an author that you already love, but that as far as I know you haven't read, and I have read.
Is it another Taylor Jenkins Reid book?
It is.
The other one I haven't read yet.
It's Forever Interrupted. So I did also really enjoy this one, and I'm very curious for you to read it. I think it's going to be the kind of thing you have to be in the right mood for to read, because it deals heavily with grief.
Yeah.
But I also really enjoyed this one, and I know you'll enjoy it when you get to it, so I'm excited for you to read it.
You're just picking like some of my favorite authors here.
A few of them.
Yeah, I think you said that After I Do you liked a bit more than this one.
Yes. I think I gave this one like 4 or 4.5 stars, and I gave After I Do the full 5.
I have a feeling I'm going to like this one more than After I Do. I think
Yes.
After I Do is more about relationships, maybe, and then this one is more about like grief.
Yeah.
So I think I'll have a better time with this one.
Okay.
But we'll see.
I'll be curious to see what you think. All right, so my 7th pick is one that we do not own.
Okay.
But it is very similar to one of my favorites that we do own that you have also read and enjoyed. Do you have any wild theories?
What genre?
If I tell you that, it's going to give it away.
Well, I have nothing to base this off of.
Okay, it's like humor.
Oh, it's the sequel to that one book, right?
No, it's not the sequel. It's a similar book. So the one that he's talking about that it's related to is Hyperbole and a Half. And this is a book that reminds me a lot of Hyperbole and a Half, but it's not Hyperbole and a Half. It's called Adulthood is a Myth, and it's the first book in the Sarah Scribbles series. And this one, instead of being like Hyperbole and a Half is all like a mixture of graphic novel and text, this one is all graphic novel.
Okay. And why do you think I will enjoy it?
Because it reminds me a lot of this. It has a lot of like truth nuggets that are really funny and relatable like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't usually get along too well with graphic novels, but if it's more of like a funny thing, it could kind of just read like funny comics.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll enjoy it.
I'm curious to see what you think anyway. And if you do like it, there are 4 of them that I know of. There may be more.
So far, that's the one that I'm the least excited for.
Okay.
I will admit that.
But were you excited about this when I told you to start this?
Meh.
Well, and you ended up loving it, so there you go.
Yeah, we'll see. You never know.
This next pick is one of my most loved authors. I don't want to say favorite because I haven't read too much by them yet, so I don't know. But I have really loved what I have read, and you have read one of their books, but it's not this one.
Okay.
And I am currently...
I can already tell what it is.
It's Blood Over Brighthaven by Emma Wong.
You haven't even finished this book
Listen,
yet.
I have started. I am only like 100 pages in, but I'm already excited to have someone to talk to about this.
You haven't even finished it yet.
I am loving it though, and I want to talk to you about it, so I want to make you read it.
I will read it when the audiobook comes out, which I think is like October.
All
so
right.
You're going to have to wait a little bit. But I am excited. And the other book by M.L. Wong is Sword of Kaigen, which I gave 4 stars. I didn't love the very beginning of it, but the rest of the book was great. I know it's one of your all-time favorites.
Yeah.
And this is another book that she's written that came out last year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you'll probably give it 5 stars, and then I'll read the audiobook, and I'll let you know.
Okay. Sounds good. It'll be interesting because it has some things in it that I wouldn't say you would typically gravitate towards.
What does that mean?
Raffle.
Well, you need to raffle too. You haven't even finished it.
I know, but I'm excited to talk to you about it when you do. So my 9th pick is one that I have not read yet, but that I want you to be the guinea pig for. And I was with you when we bought it.
Okay.
And it is fantasy. I don't think either of us have read this author before either.
I'm clueless.
No ideas?
I see the back of the book. I still don't even know what it is.
You don't know based on the back?
Oh, is it the Bladed Faith?
Yeah, by
Yeah.
David Dalglish.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
We have both not read anything by this author.
Yeah, but I'm curious to get your take.
I don't even remember what the premise is at this point. We bought it so long ago.
Oh boy.
But you want me to be the guinea pig?
Yes.
All right, well, no promises on when I'll get to it. I am excited though, so that's a good pick.
Okay, well that's good. So my 10th pick is one that you own on Audible that I have read that you have not read. And I want you to read it more just because I'm very curious to see what your reaction to it is going to be, because I don't think it's really in your normal wheelhouse. But then again, you picked it out and said you wanted to read it. So
I know what it is.
what is it?
How to Defeat a Demon King in 10 Easy Steps.
Yeah, by Andrew Rowe.
You really liked it?
I did, but I also really like lit RPG when I read it. And you haven't read too much lit RPG. I think I made you read one, and you were more interested in like the real life portions of the story than the in-game portions of the story. And so I was like, oh no, is it just this one, or is that going to be the case with all lit RPG that you read?
The in-game stuff was boring.
No, it wasn't. See, I felt the opposite. I loved the in-game stuff, and I was kind of bored by the in real life stuff.
I was the opposite. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
see, this is why I want you to read it, because I want to know how you feel about the subgenre in general.
It also helps that it's shorter.
Yeah.
So it's like 5.5 hours on audio. The other one was like 17 hours or something.
Was
like
it?
That. Yeah, it was long.
I don't know. I read the ebook. I remember it being like 700 pages.
Yeah, it was long. But this one might be a bit more of like a step, put your toes in the pond kind of deal. Like, just try it a little bit. It might be good. I don't know. It's not one that I'm super excited for.
Okay.
I might read it in July, though, because it is short.
It'll work for the readathon for sure. Is that going to be the first book on my list that you're going to end up reading?
Unless any of these are super short, probably.
Oh, boy. And then I have one honorable mention for the list, but this isn't really one that I necessarily want you to read in Guinea Pig for me. I want to buddy read it with you.
I can already see what it is.
It is The Traitor God by Cameron Johnston.
And this is a fantasy duology?
Yes, and we do own the second book as well.
No idea when we'll get to it.
Me either, but I am excited to read it, and I want to buddy read it with you.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next year. Would you guys be interested in seeing this as a read along on the Discord? Because we can do that.
Let us know.
So those were the 10 books that I'm really excited for my husband to read. Well, plus one that I want us to buddy read. What did you guys think of my list? Did I convince any of you to pick any of them up in the process? Let me know in the comments below. And tell me which one you think Jake should start with, even if it's not the one he plans to start with.
And which one do you think I will like the most?
Yeah, definitely. Let us know all that good stuff down below. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a great day. Bye.
Bye.